Hello, guys.
Hello.
Ah,
Welcome back to another live with me, Brayden.
hello. All right.
We're continuing with scarcity mindset as the theme.
Yes. Today we are talking about the alchemical pause. That sweet moment between scarcity and reaction. Ah, man. How often do you pause in your life when it comes to things, especially things happening all at once? Bing, bang, boom.
Well, I think there's always like some sort of like triage that comes into play.
Okay.
Like there's an immediate reaction that we are used to having, and we try to better, or we don't even notice that
As
it's
it's
there.
happening, yeah, it's just such a knee jerk every day, and not even just every day, but like it goes through a varying form of instances. It's not like just stuck to one part of your everyday life. Like it creeps in everywhere. So, with that being said, I'm gonna do a small a small recap over what we went over last week, and then jump forward into what we have going on now, because it all comes together, guys. Just bear with me. Oh, wait,
Brayden.
give me a second, guys, before I do this. I'm gonna abruptly stop for a second. I forgot to add Facebook Live on here, and
So you could see the comments.
see the comments and yeah, all those other things. So give me a
Well,
second, you guys.
we are shifting from the norm. The norm has been me in my plethora of notes, and now you're leading.
That's true.
And you also were in charge of of keeping the live on.
Yep. Oh, damn it. How do I do this?
You did the split screen.
Yeah, I know. I just thought I was already doing that.
Look at that. That wasn't that hard.
Yeah, we got it. We're good. We're golden.
It's just different. Thanks for watching, Nikki, Rick, Crystal. On to week 2 of scarcity mindset and the alchemical pause.
It's wild. It's really actually, it's like throwing me that you don't have a notebook in front of you. Like there's an empty space over there. It's.
Let me put my.
No, there's no big square instrument in front of you. No computer, no piece of papers. It's.
We were talking about that. I am super duper note takey, and he just, for whatever reason, doesn't like to physically write them down. Yeah. And he keeps them on his phone, and I can't do that. But I do have my laptop, and that works pretty well now. So I haven't had a notebook for a hot minute.
Well, you guys, I'm not gonna lie. Like I use ChatGPT to help me like curate all of this. It takes a lot more than I thought it was originally gonna take, and I didn't realize how deep you actually get when you start planning your lives. You know, you get off on a lot of bunny trails, and you really refine the process. You know, you probably rewrite your life like 4 or 5 times before it gets solid what needs to be said at its core value, if you will. So, yeah, with that being said,
there's some appreciation.
Yeah.
For all those notes.
yes. Well, I just like, also just to bring it to people's attention that it's not just, well, I'm going to say this is my topic and then have ChatGPT just throw me something and call it good and slapdash. Like, yeah, there's a lot more that goes into it than that. But anyway, I digress. Right. So, last week we cracked open how fear rewrites our yes before we even realize it. How scarcity doesn't always shout, but edits quietly in logic, convenience, or hesitation. This week, we step into the moment before the reaction. The sacred space, that flicker, is the place of power. Not where we erase fear, but where we meet it without obeying it. This is the pause. This is the alchemy. This is where authorship returns. This is a sacred moment because it gives you the chance to choose the direction. It gives you the chance to see what direction you're currently going. And it gives you a step into insight on how to manage that. It's something that's not really taught to us. You know, like how often does somebody say, "Whoa, whoa, 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 stop"? Just give yourself a moment to just take in this moment and think about it before you make a choice. Ah, actually,
It's like shining a light on that moment before you make a decision, or when you initially make a snap judgment in your head, and then you're going back and forth on whether or not you should even do that.
Yeah, and it gives you a chance to have a conversation with yourself. It lets you check in, see where you're at, see what you need, see if there's maybe some misunderstandings with yourself on what you're trying to achieve, so you can have clarity to move it forward. And that kind of ties into a lot of why we.
What is your triage process, and how old is that triage process?
Yes.
When's the last time you updated it? Do you even remember how that triage process was created?
How it was maintained? Yeah. Oh, I love that. Most definitely. All right. So we have, speaking of the triage, we are going to break that down. The 3 scarcity reactions.
I didn't even know it was 3.
Yes, yes, yes. Isn't that beautiful? Talk about alignment. Let me show you what happens when we don't pause. Scarcity takes on 3 common forms. Settling, we call it the slow shrink. You want out of a job, you feel a yes when something new shows up, then logic kills the spark. Not the right time, be grateful, wait it out. That's fear in practical clothing. Urgency, the panicked yes. Opportunity hits and you pounce before you even breathe. I can't miss this. Fear of missing out, thinking that the universe lets go because you didn't answer, right? And 2 days later, regret set in, not because it wasn't aligned, but because you didn't check in. You didn't see where you were at, what your readiness was, as well as what opportunity comes from trying to step into this. What's your schedule look like? Is it actually doable? Do I have too much on my plate? The stuff that I have on my plate, is it stuff that can be shifted around? Is it stuff that I really need to actually even be entertaining? Like, what is this doing for my push towards becoming who I want to become? Wow, some of those thoughts. Wow, I went a little bit far in that. Auto editing, the instant no. A beautiful offer lands, you light up just for a second, then it's, I'm too busy, I'm not ready, that's too much to take on. That wasn't intuition, that was your nervous system hitting a port. You felt something strong and was like, ooh, I don't know what that is, but I definitely don't have the time or energy for that. So you shut it down. All right. Now we went over the little recap of last week. We get to jump into our group prompt, which is, which one of these is your go-to scarcity reflex? The slow shrink, the panic, yes, or the instant no? If you feel so inclined, go ahead and
just like all of them,
drop it here in the comments. And yes, it is, but like out of all of them, which one really sticks out to you? When you think about these 3 things, what is it? What do you see? What do you feel? Right? So you close your eyes, you bring to mind recent moments where one of these patterns showed up, where you shrank, where you jumped, or where you shut down. Now go to the moment before the reaction, the flicker, the hesitation. Where did it land in your body? What did fear whisper first?
I'm not ready.
Just notice. There's no fixing. There's no judgment. You're just witnessing it. You're accepting it. You're acknowledging it. All right. So what you just did there by naming it and acknowledging it, you've taken ownership of it. All right. Like, you don't have to fix that. Now you get to make a choice. All right. You witnessed the override. You met the reflex with presence. You caught it. You see it. It doesn't own you. And that's your anchor. And from that place, we get to step into the pause, right? Because the moment that we own something, then we get to reflect. And it helps us see the direction that we want to go. And what if the sensation isn't fear at all? What if it's excitement, arrival, expansion, trying to land in a body that still calls it danger? Let's feel it. Bring that same moment to mind, but this time ask, if this were excitement, what would I be excited about? and stay with that energy. Let it move, let it warm, and let it speak. All right, this is the alchemical pause, not just stopping the reflex, but meeting the intensity as a message. You don't have to act from it, but you do have to honor it. And then I'm going to jump over here to this little closing bit, because I really like this one a lot better. Now let the body settle, let the energy integrate. You've paused, you've felt, you've listened, and now the invitation arrives. Not a command, not a rush, just a door. One path leads back to the familiar, where comfort disguises itself as wisdom. The other, that's the one where you stay open, where you don't shut down the sensation, but start a conversation with it. You don't have to know your next move, but the next time you feel that flicker, recognize it as an opportunity to speak with yourself, to ask, to listen, to get curious, because that flicker might not be fear. It might just be you knocking. It might be you saying, hey, check in with me. I've got some really good things to say about this, or we've got some things that we need to work on before we're actually ready for that step. But what's beautiful about recognizing that there's things that need doing is you can redirect your focus on those things and start getting those knocked out of the way. You can choose to recognize that maybe you would like to have those things before you step into this next step, but it's actually not super necessary. And I can just take that next step and we can see what works out from there. It's 50 parts, just wait and see, get curious, see what's around the corner, start walking that uncharted territory, and being able to have the intuition to know that you are actually choosing, when you're choosing yourself, like you're gonna be able to start steering yourself in the right direction. It's rocky at first because you're not used to it, but as you keep practicing that, it will hone itself in, and then boom, you take off like a rocket.
Why are you jumping to the conclusions that you are?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you get freaked out when your friend asks you to go to Las Vegas? Huh? Why is that always your jump scares? Like, I can't go to Vegas. That costs money. That's too many people. Oh my gosh, it's so scary. Is that the main reason all the time? Is it traveling? Whitney, why are you scared? Why are you scared of Las Vegas? That's where the zombies get you in every apocalypse movie.
And then remember, a lot of these times we feel like we have to be beholden to the deadline of the offer given to us, right? Like that's like a subtler version of that fear of missing out. But but being able to direct and shift. So okay, Las Vegas definitely perks an interest. So I definitely would like to go to Las Vegas. But okay, I've got this list of things that need to be met before I can even do Vegas. And that's totally all right. Vegas doesn't have to be a now thing.
It is scary, Crystal. Yeah, I had to go through a whole process. And why did I jump to no? I did.
But you get to start working your process backwards from there. So you don't have to make that. It doesn't have to.
Yeah, but I just had to double check, and I had to go through all the reasons and stop and like, okay, we know it's scary, Whitney, but what is the real thing? Okay, let's logically go through this. Even if the fear is just excitement in disguise, what other things do you need to go to Vegas? And then go through that. Or my hairdresser mentioned that if I did some sort of a booth, I could get other people interested in the group and put it out there and do some marketing for the business. And that was terrifying. Why? Well, before it was terrifying. There was that spark of joy. And then I jumped on it. Like, you can't right now. You'd have to get a booth, and then you'd have to do this, and then you'd have to do this and this and this. And it's a lot right now. But it's not. It's not. It is exciting. There was that huge burst of excitement at the thought of having a booth. Even at like a Ren fair, if I wanted to witchy style it, or if I wanted to go for like that celestial something else.
Yeah.
I would get to theme it, make a theme with the booth, and that is exciting. I love decorating. And I could go to town on decorating a little gazebo thing. Oh, and a banner. I have my business logo. Oh,
and the best part is like once you get into the vendor life, it's its own rush. And even if you don't have the perfect setup the first time, you don't have people bashing you for it. There's not people over there telling you, "Oh,
no.
what are you doing
it
here?
Was wonderful
like, you need
how
so much
excited
more."
my hairdresser was to give me these tips on. She's been in her business for 5 years, and she told me how it started off and how she took off with it, and
so
how
fun.
welcoming other business owners and other entrepreneurs are like excited to share
tips and tricks of the trade. Yeah. There's a whole community out there waiting for you guys.
But recognizing that, as excited as I was, my initial jump was like, we're going to shut that down. You're not ready. You're not professional. You don't have enough money to set up a booth. Oh, let me give you all these reasons why you can't do that, Whitney. Wow, I really shut myself down. Those aren't good enough excuses. Little angel with your little fucking guy on my shoulder with the devil horns trying to push me off my path and tell me I can't do it.
Yep.
Recognize why you make the decisions that you do. Do you have an initial triage that you go through where you're shutting yourself down?
Mine is avoidance. I don't even let myself think about what the triage is. Like, when I'm ready to do my work on my computer and I just can't get myself to get up and move and look at that computer, there's not even a, oh, come on, Brayden, you could be doing this, and this. It's just a, come on, Brayden. And I'm like, yeah, no, I know. I'm stuck. And I'm just going to watch my show for like another 30 minutes and I'll revisit this. And then I'll do like 5 other million things. I'll clean my house. I'll sit down and try and find some really good music. I'll go clean the bathroom. I'll go take the garbage out. I'll go for a walk outside. Anything to avoid the confrontation of the conversation with myself and doing something that I know I'm going to super enjoy, that I know isn't hard, that it doesn't make me feel like it's effort. So why am I dodging it? Because it steps me into being that responsible person that doesn't just lay out through his day not doing a whole lot or doing just enough. And I'm not gonna lie, I am a creature of comfort. I love to just coast through my day and let what comes. And now I know I gotta add a little bit more to my plate. My plate is a lot bigger now. Like, I have created a really big plate and I can do the things. So now I gotta fill up that empty space. And I don't wanna fill up that empty space.
That is really it. It's that self-discipline. Like, oh,
but I really do want the pineapple.
Oh, that was self-love.
You
know, you're just taking care of yourself. You need that pause. You need that. You are so good at finding excuses.
You know, and I'm not going to lie, you guys, if you can get yourself through a day of not guilt tripping yourself, of really just owning the present moment. In this moment, I am resting. And while I am resting, regardless of how I decide to rest, that is mine. And I'm going to own it as a time to recharge, whether it's death scrolling, whether it's reading, whether it's doing dishes, whatever it is you want to do for your 20, 30, 1 hour, 1 whole day span. However you want to spend your day, even if it means going out for 7 hours of your day doing a hiking trip. Do it to enjoy the moment, to appreciate the moment. Appreciate that you are in that moment, and holy crap, I promise you the next day you're going to feel this whole new way about life.
Not only that, but then you cannot lie to yourself, because you should be able to recognize the difference between intentionally taking time for you
and bastardizing it when you do take it.
Exactly. Exactly.
Don't sabotage yourself, you guys.
Exactly. You
Give
can't
yourself
lie to
that-
yourself after that. Then you know when you're death scrolling and you're avoiding it, you know exactly what it is. It doesn't feel the same.
Well, and then on the same turn, when
you know exactly what you're doing.
And when you can give yourself that, you can give it to yourself. You're giving it with grace, and you're allowing yourself to fully integrate it into your life. So from that moment on, you know you can take any of those moments that you need to have that in your life. And you guys, I know we have a time limit on life. We all only live a certain amount of years, but also life is timeless. You don't have a deadline for anything in your life besides bills, okay? Outside of bills, like your passions, your dreams, the things that you want to achieve and become, like you don't have to have a timestamp on it. You just got to get curious about it and allow yourself to do the work and see what sticks. And then you're building a life of intention that you really love that doesn't feel like effort. Embrace change as it is always inevitable. At least that's what I tell myself. Yeah, you're not wrong. It's the only constant in life. It's the only guarantee you have. It will never fail you. Change is always there.
That is the one thing.
Even if you snuff it out to keep your life the same, it still shows up and knocks at your feckin' door. So can't ignore it.
Or sends you a message when you wake up.
Yeah.
And then what you thought was going to happen is not going to go the way you thought it would. But, man, going with the flow and sticking to your boundaries and just, it feels so much different. It feels so much different. It doesn't feel like there's so much resistance that they're trying to control it. If you can just accept that there's always going to be change.
There is great power in the pause. Like that is your moment.
Ooh.
That is your pivot point, man. That's why you have your anchor. That's because these moments are fleeting. They're very they're until you become self-aware of that happening in your life. Like
you know what it is? It's alchemic because you are taking the what do you call it? The unconscious decision making,
and you're transmuting
it into intentional decision making.
Completing the loop, the infinity loop. Yep.
So you're recognizing why you're coming to that decision, whether it's fear, where the scarcity is that you're taking away the sparkle out of your decision.
And in all reality, if you want to talk in terms of energy, you're finding all of your energy boosters, all your energy stabilizers, everything that's going to help you keep going in a manner and a fashion that doesn't feel like you're chasing your tail. That doesn't equal success. I'm starting to see success.
Taking your power back.
Yeah, well, success in life, I'm really starting to see success in life is really being able to go throughout your day with intention. And intention doesn't look like this policed brick and mortar shell outline of this is what it looks like to be successful. But recognizing your own ebb and flow. Stepping into your truths, living authentically. That is your liberation. It's not effort. It only feels like effort right now because you're stepping into change. And change is hard because we're creatures of comfort. And we shun the non-believers. Shun. Go to Candy Mountain, Charlie. Let's come to Candy Mountain with us, man.
Yeah. What was your decision when we asked you to come to Candy Mountain with us?
Yeah. So, I mean, guys, feel free to open up, spill some beans, share maybe what your triage is. I mean, if you feel so inclined to do so. If you would like to step into the daring.
What is your triage, Brayden? What are your little filters that you go through?
You know, I would have to say,
do I have the time for it? Do I want to do it? Do I feel obligated to do it?
Yeah, I think it's the instant no. I think that's the one that I struggle with the most. The auto editing, just like I don't even want to think about this. I don't want to deal with that. Nah, that's a really big energy bubble coming at me. Like, do I really want to pop that? But that has recently changed, so we'll see what's around the corner. I think the settling is also another one that I would have to say I battle with for sure. Yeah, it's really easy to just break it down into a why it's an acceptable no.
I don't know. It's just I could find so many excuses. It's hard to classify it in any one of those because
they all overlap.
Yeah, I can always just excuse it away. And I have to stop myself and recognize that you're just giving excuses. Okay, it's an excuse because I'm scared. What am I scared of? Why is Vegas so scary?
Why is Vegas so scary?
Why is traveling so scary?
Did you grow up always hearing that this was the last best place to live?
Not really.
Not really. That was a big one for me. Like, you're lucky you're born here. It's the last best place to live. Like, there's nowhere better than Montana. And then you have people that move here from out of state the same night. There's just no better place than Montana. Like, and that has kept me hesitant to even try.
We just didn't go many places. Really, we just really didn't go many places. We always went camping. We never went to Disneyland. We never did anything big like that. When I was 16, we went to Mount Rushmore. Ooh. And then I traveled when I was in the military.
Yeah, all the way to Germany.
That and we would always go to Oregon because that's where my mom's family was.
Okay, all right. Yeah.
Didn't do a lot of traveling.
Wow.
Even in my first marriage, we didn't do
I didn't do
any traveling. Really at all. So I'm not well traveled. I guess. I don't know. A lot of my traveling was with family, so I don't feel safe traveling without like a good safety pack behind me. Like if something bad happens, we have XYZ and all this in place. It's fine. Dad will take care of it. I don't have to worry about it.
I don't know. I mean, you've done quite a bit of traveling thus far, though. Like, you've been to Washington a couple times.
Never alone. I'm never alone.